Hey everyone, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin today and have a look at some of the shorter term scenarios to give us a little bit more clarity on whether Bitcoin is more likely to move up or more likely to move down, and whether the bottom has been put in this quarter four. So if that sounds good to you and you want more clarity on whether Bitcoin is likely to move up or down in the short term and whether you should be buying at these levels, go ahead and drop me a like down below and subscribe to the channel. So let's get straight into it. So since our last video, we did speak about this symmetrical triangle, which tends to be a continuation of the current trend, and we were expecting to break a little bit lower, and we got that. And then we since have seen support at about $15,500, undercutting the low, and at this moment in time creating a bit of a swing failure pattern in the market, which has brought us back into the range between $15,500 and about $17,000. Now, we don't know for certain whether the bottom has been put in, but I can tell you that we are very, very likely close, okay? And if 16 or 15K is not going to be the bottom, the most likely bottom is going to be somewhere down here at these order blocks where all the liquidity is going to be. So we've got these order blocks down below us over here. And also another reason that we might be looking at lower prices is we are currently in a little bit of no man's land where we've broken down from these ranges, okay? And this is no man's land over here where there is literally no volume. So if we are going to get a move down here, I would expect it to be quite quick. And just another leading indicator to show us that, well, for me anyway, that Bitcoin may not yet have bottomed is I'm keeping a close eye on Ethereum, because I think Ethereum does have a bit of a ways to go to move a little bit lower in the market, and maybe if Ethereum hits some of those price targets of about $800, $600, $700, that would give me a clear confirmation. And we have to take a look at Ethereum, Bitcoin, okay, I'm still looking at this as potential distribution, these yellow peaks that I've sort of set out here, and this is a bit of a range where people are taking profits at least from Ether into BTC or Ether into cash, and a more likely scenario for me and a better area of entry for Ethereum and the rest of the market would be somewhere along this trend line, testing these order blocks that we haven't tested yet. So those are the reasons that we're looking at for Bitcoin potentially still having a little bit of ways to go to reach the bottom. And taking a look at some of the shorter term timeframes, I see two options for Bitcoin to move from here. And I think that we either form some sort of descending triangle, and we see we're still creating lower highs, so we don't need to get too excited about this pump yet. And maybe we deviate and move lower from here, okay, as we are currently testing the order block that we broke down from the ascending triangle. So we've moved into that midpoint just over here. So if you were going to take some kind of short trade at the minute and you want to take trades to the downside, now wouldn't be a bad time, because it's still favorable to take short trades to the downside from a risk management point of view, and maybe a stop loss above that sort of 16.82 or 16.83 above this high over here would lead me to believe that we're probably going to move higher. But if we break down from here and we don't get any support from this inverted head and shoulders pattern that we broke out from this week, okay, just over here, then I would expect us, if we break down below here and we retest these levels at 15.8, I would expect us down to move lower to, you know, potentially that ultimate target of about 13.8, 14K. So essentially we'd be looking at some kind of descending triangle like this, where we're creating lower highs, hammering down at these levels at about 15.5, and an eventual break to move lower. However, on the short-term timeframes, Bitcoin is looking relatively strong, and you can see that the uptrending support line, which was the area that we broke down from our asymmetrical triangle, we've actually come back, retested this, and actually closed back in it quite nicely on the 4-hour time frame. If we just take a look at that over here, okay, so that's looking pretty good as a sign of strength for the bulls. And also we've also broken out of this downtrending line, so we moved it up quite impulsively and holding this level. So Bitcoin is in a little bit of area of indecision where we might move down, create some sort of descending triangle, or the most likely route that I see for us to move up would be some sort of retest over here, okay, at about that 16.15 level, and just test this whole order block of price action, which is the inverse head and shoulders that we broke out from earlier in this week, which is this pattern over here, okay. And currently, like I said, taking some profits for people and some pausing as we've broken out and retesting the midpoint of the asymmetrical triangle. So the way that I'd be looking at this from here is I'd be looking at for the bulls to take control is possibly retest this trend line and have a look at this area of price action to gain some support from, and then a move impulsively higher above this level over here, which is the 17k area, and potentially even some sort of back test like this, and then maybe potentially move up to about 18.4. So that's what I would look at as the short-term bullish scenario if we can move any higher and start to really, you know, climb out of this range that we've broken down from. And the reason I'm also looking at 18.4k is because it's the level that we broke down from on this FTX collapse, and it's the bottom of the range. So if we can see some kind of strength here, I would expect us to basically have a little bit of pause in price if we reach that 18.4. But if we can show strength over here and potentially move back into the range and get some kind of like high time frame weekly close here, then this was likely some sort of fake out and increases the probabilities of being the bottom. So that's the bullish scenario that I'd be looking out for. And although I am open to 14k being the bottom, I know that because we're so close, in my opinion, to the end of the bear market, and we've planned for this all year, that I'm also you know, taking into account that any low that we get at these prices at like 16k and below might just be the low. And the way that I'd be calling the end of the bear market for me is if we can get above 21k, okay, and we basically are able to get above this bull market support band, which is the 21-week EMA and the 20-week EMA, and we can basically get a move impulsively above, okay. For me, that would be the end of the bear market, and we're likely going to be in a period of accumulation and sideways before we basically get that next spring higher. So that's how I'm reading the market, okay. But if you are going to take some of this into account, what I would look for a break of the bull market support band, if that happens in this Q4 or January, is that I'd be looking for some sort of sustained hold for us to basically see higher prices. So last time we basically tested it and then we moved back down. We held it for about a week and a half. We want to see some sort of hold, maybe impulsive break quite high, and then back test it quite well and then move higher. That to me would be a signal that we are going to be moving higher and that the bear market is over. It would also make sense that the low that we had on the FTX collapse at about $15,500 might be the low if we are able to reclaim the range above us, because it's the only thing that we have not been able to do during this entire bear market, because every time we've basically been stair-stepping down every single time, okay, and we haven't once barely retested the levels above. We have never come up and reclaimed some of these ranges that we've lost. So if we are able to come back up here, close here, that would give us the absolute first indication that Bitcoin is ready to start moving at least sideways and stop the downtrend. And that would also give us an indication of a macro trend reversal in the market. And to be transparent with my holdings at the minute, I'm currently holding 65% spot Bitcoin, no other altcoins, and 1/3 of my portfolio in cash, ready to deploy at potential lower levels or at some sort of reclaim of about this range that we broke down from at about 18 to 21k. Then I'll be looking and interested at deploying a little bit more, but currently waiting and really looking to see, apart from some short-term trades, the direction of the market and where we're looking to head. So if you got some value from that video, go ahead and like, subscribe to the channel below, and I'll keep you updated with any major movements and what I'll be doing in the market. Until the next one, peace out.